Isolated for more than 80 million years, this island harbours unique life found nowhere else on Earth. And I want to share with you the incredible species I encountered while exploring it. This is Madagascar. We're now heading west to explore one of the largest remaining tracts of dry deciduous forest left in Madagascar, passing once again through the Central Highlands. The further west we go, the hotter and drier it becomes, but we do get a surprise downpour close to our destination. After a long day of driving, we arrive at a coastal town to spend the night, which will be our gateway into the Wild West. We awake to the scorching temperatures of Morondava, one of the busiest towns in Madagascar. Its shopping opportunities, local seafood, and close proximity to white-sanded beaches make it a popular tourist destination for both Malagasy people and foreigners. Just a few miles away, there's also a natural spectacle that draws tens of thousands of people from around the world every year, and we want to experience it for ourselves. As we slowly drive down a bumpy sandy road, grand conspicuous pillars of nature protrude out of the landscape, dwarfing everything around them. They are baobabs, some of the biggest and oldest trees on Earth. Locally they are called Reniala, which means mother of the forest in Malagasy. And it's believed that ancestral spirits inhabit the trees, which is why they are worshipped in some indigenous communities. Their bizarre clustered branches, which accumulate at the top, resemble roots, which is why they are also known as upside-down trees. Madagascar is home to 6 endemic baobab species, and here along the avenue of the baobabs, huge Grandidiers baobabs line the road. Although they can reach over 30 meters in height, it's the girth which is most impressive, with some trunks measuring up to a staggering 29 meters in circumference. Living to well over 1,000 years old, baobabs have evolved bloated trunks to store water, and people living in remote, arid regions have carved some baobabs hollow in order to store water during the harsh dry season. These unique water wells have been passed down through many generations. The day ends with a surprise sighting of a large adult Malagasy cat-eyed snake hunting amongst the baobabs. During the Jurassic period around 165 million years ago, Madagascar and India detached from the supercontinent Gondwana while continental drift was taking place. Madagascar and India were then attached for 30 to 40 million years until they separated around 88 million years ago. When this happened, India drifted an incredible distance northeast and collided with tectonic plates in Asia, forming the Himalayas we see today. This makes Madagascar one of the oldest islands in the world, and some life was able to evolve here in isolation for more than 80 million years. Later on, other species managed to find their way to Madagascar from mainland Africa and perhaps elsewhere. How this happened is difficult to prove, but it's likely that some non-flying species arrived on rafts of vegetation. The animals, plants and fungi that found a way to Madagascar from elsewhere managed to find a niche they could occupy in the island's unique ecosystem and were still able to evolve in isolation for tens of millions of years. This is why 90% of species in Madagascar are found nowhere else. One such creature which roams Madagascar today is a descendant of some of these pioneering animals from mainland Africa. And to my astonishment, as I arrive in the Kirindy Forest camp, I see the tail of this animal protruding out from under the wooden hut I'll be sleeping in. It's a Fossa. This strange yet handsome beast evolved from a mongoose-like ancestor which arrived in Madagascar more than 20 million years ago. In theory, the ancestor arrived here on large rafts of floating vegetation, crossing the ocean from mainland Africa. Other carnivores are part of this lineage as well, most of which are in the family Opluridae, which is unique to Madagascar. Today, the Fossa is an apex predator in Madagascar, hunting lemurs and anything else it can catch. It has evolved similar traits to cats, including retractable claws for climbing, a long tail for balancing, and large canines which deliver a killer bite. Although this is a wild animal, this individual is used to the presence of people around the forest huts in Kirindy. It eventually comes out into the open, revealing a body designed for agility. However, instead of going on the hunt, it decides to just go to sleep. Satisfied with its afternoon nap, it starts to become more active. It then seems to walk off with purpose, as if it has somewhere to be. But instead of vanishing into the forest as I was expecting, it walks deeper into the camp and stops outside one of the small buildings, seemingly waiting in anticipation. It waits and waits and waits. Then I realise that this building is the kitchen, and the Fossa tries its best to make eye contact with the camp chef in hope of receiving some scraps. It's not too dissimilar to watching a stray city cat. This is not normal behaviour, and I'm pleased to see the chef ignores the Fossa's request. Feeding wild animals is never usually a good thing, and judging by this animal's behaviour, it probably has been fed by people in the past. Part of me is excited to see a Fossa in such detail, while I also feel sad that this remarkable predator has been somewhat tamed by the presence of humans. I suppose this is just wildlife adapting and taking advantage of easy food. Why waste energy chasing lemurs when you can potentially get a takeaway meal from the camp? It soon gives up and heads out into the forest, hopefully to hunt its natural prey. I knew this area was renowned for Fossa, but I didn't expect to get this close to one. From the camp, an array of bird species remain active through the late afternoon, giving a taster of what's to come before we actually enter the Kirindy Forest. Madagascar buzzards and hawks glide on thermals high above, while crested drongos perch boldly in the open. The ever-present Suimanga sunbird forages for insects, including this male who shows his metallic green colour. And the spectacular crested kua emerges from the vegetation. This is a member of the cuckoo family, and it's often inquisitive towards humans. It's easily identified as it's the only kua species in Madagascar with a prominent crest. As evening approaches, we have dinner under one of the camp shelters, and a movement in the corner of the roof catches my eye. Remarkably, we're sharing the dining area with grey mouse lemurs. These nocturnal lemurs, which have likely slept inside the roof during the day, are now waking up for the night ahead. We head out into the forest in the dark and find more of them in their natural habitat. This one is lapping up sweet sap from a tree. Another is feeding on a mango. They feed on a range of fruits and nectar, but are also capable hunters of insects and smaller vertebrates. And this one looks like it's woken up later than the others, as it reluctantly leaves its tree hollow. As shown by their ability to use artificial structures, they are one of the more adaptable lemur species and can even survive in plantations. It's one of the few lemurs that isn't endangered. Although the grey mouse lemur is the largest of the 24 mouse lemur species in Madagascar, it's still one of the smallest primates in the world and could easily sit in the palm of your hand. Nearby, another nocturnal lemur species is foraging, but this one is rarer and is only found in Madagascar's western dry forests. It's a pale fork-marked lemur, so called due to the black forked marking on top of its head. Tree sap comprises a significant portion of its diet, and they are dependent on the sap of 5 tree species unique to this habitat. It is therefore highly vulnerable to changes in its habitat and is classed as endangered. Emerging out of its daytime retreat nearby is another nocturnal lemur, the red-tailed sportive lemur. They have the strange habit of sometimes eating their own feces, a behaviour known as cecotrophy. Because sportive lemurs are predominantly leaf eaters, they eat high fibre and low energy food, which often passes through their gut partially digested. They eat their own fecal pellets to extract the extra nutrients they couldn't get the first time, like a double digestion process. They do this more often during the dry season when food is harder to come by. Birds that were active during the day are now roosting, including this Madagascar hoopoe and Madagascar magpie robin. And down on the forest floor, a cryptic reptile hunts for insects while trying to remain hidden from predators. It's a Madagascar ground gecko, or Paradura picta, blending into the leaf litter with its intricate markings. This is one of around 25 ground gecko species in Madagascar, and new species within the Paradura genus continue to be discovered. The next morning we rise early with the Suimanga sunbirds, and one of their predators, the Francis's sparrowhawk. Malagasy turtle doves forage on the dusty ground, alongside flamboyant Madagascar hoopoes probing for insects. And a day gecko warms up in the morning sun. Today we're venturing deeper into this unique forest, admiring towering baobabs along the way. Some are in the process of dropping their seed pods. I find some on the floor, one of which is open, revealing the seeds which look like cashew nuts. A long, elegant tail catches the eye, attached to a small body which continuously darts through the vegetation. Malagasy paradise flycatchers. The male of this exotic bird brandishes the longer tail, while the female's is shorter. Although the male starts the juvenile stage with reddish feathers, some eventually turn white, while others retain the colour they started with. Why this happens? No one knows. It's a rare phenomena among birds worldwide. A bird family almost exclusive to Madagascar is the vangers. And this one is a white-headed vanger, inspecting tree crevices. Another is the rufous vanger. This male is performing a beak-snapping display, seemingly in response to another rufous vanger calling. Beak snapping is used as a territorial or threat display in some bird species, or even as an alarm call when danger is spotted. Greater Vasa parrots curiously peer down from above, alongside busy long-billed tetrakas. But perhaps the most peculiar and little known among these endemic bird species skulks around on the ground in groups. Their plump chestnut brown bodies scuttle through the leaf litter in unison, rarely coming out into the open. They are white-breasted mesquites. Reluctant to fly, they spend most of their time on the ground, meticulously turning over leaves in search of invertebrates to eat. It's thought that their reason for staying in groups is mainly for predator avoidance, as multiple pairs of eyes can watch out for danger. Also, these birds tend to be monogamous, repeatedly breeding with the same partner, and parental care for the chicks after they've left the nest can be exceptionally long, lasting several months. This forms a tight family unit. The white-breasted mesquite shares its taxonomic family with just two other species, the brown mesquite and the sub-desert mesquite. All three mesquite species only live in Madagascar and are all vulnerable to habitat loss as they exist in fragmented populations throughout the island. The Kirindy Forest is a stronghold for the white-breasted mesquite, and let's hope this doesn't change in future. When animals don't show, there's plenty of unique botany to admire. Our local guide Richard stops to introduce us to two standout trees. One is locally known as the vasa tree, which is covered in fine peeling bark. Vasa is a Malagasy word for foreigner or white person, and amusingly, the flaky bark of this tree is supposed to resemble the sunburnt skin of non-native people. The other tree is a baobab with a questionable appendage. Suddenly, a rasping call is followed by... and then a beautiful song. Subtle flashes of blue lead me to the source of the noise. The culprit is a giant kua, a shy bird which eventually emerges from the dense scrub thickets. It's a close relative of the previously mentioned crested kua, but much larger. In fact, it's the largest ground-dwelling bird in Madagascar today, measuring over half a metre long. It's funny to think that just around 1,000 years ago, this title belonged to the now extinct elephant bird, or Apiornis, which stood 3 metres tall. The bird diversity in this dry forest is extraordinary, but unique non-avian creatures live here too. Suddenly, we find ourselves surrounded by ghostly white shapes leaping through the thick vegetation. They move through this complex habitat like a knife through butter. Verreaux Sifaka. This is one of the toughest of all lemurs, being well adapted to Madagascar's driest regions. They rarely need to drink water as they gain most of the moisture they need through the plants they eat. And while they feed on a wide variety of plants, they disperse a range of seeds in their droppings as they move around the habitat, maintaining a healthy forest. In the southernmost populations, they even eat the fruit of euphorbia, a plant that oozes white liquid containing extremely strong chemicals that burn human skin. There are small infants in this group, one of which is getting to grips with how to navigate its surroundings. Young Verreaux Sifakas are born with the ability to grip their mother's fur tightly. This keeps them secure while their parents make impressive leaps of up to 9 meters in a single jump. These charismatic primates are key in the conservation of these dry forests. Not because they are more important than the other species living here, but because they instill more of an emotional connection in the general public. This draws in funding to protect the habitat of Verreaux Sifaka through ecotourism, grants and donations, which in turn benefits the other species which share its habitat. This is what's known as an umbrella species. Another lemur which forages in the Kirindy Forest by day is the red-fronted brown lemur. They search for insects and fallen fruits on the ground, as well as fresh leaf shoots in the trees. Although their population density is highest here in the dry west of Madagascar, remarkably there's also populations in the tropical east living in a totally different environment. Suddenly, the harsh alarm calls of sickle-billed vangers rattle through the forest. This usually means there's a predator nearby, and the lemurs flee in a panic. They soon learn that there's no immediate danger and settle down. It's now the hottest part of the day, and animals are becoming harder to find as they avoid the sun. But as I walk past a tree hollow, I notice a rugged, scaly face boasting orange eyeshadow surrounding a closed eye. It's Cuvier's Madagascar swift, a type of iguana in the family Opluridae, which is mostly unique to Madagascar. Another one boldly scales a tree trunk in the open while in the process of shedding its skin. Reptiles shed their skin in order to grow, Unlike mammals, whose skin constantly stretches and replaces itself cell by cell, a reptile's outer scales are made of rigid protein called keratin. As a reptile eats and grows, this tough outer layer must be removed, revealing the new, larger and more flexible skin layer that has formed beneath. It's a bit of a mystery as to how these iguanas reached Madagascar, as their closest relatives live in the Americas. A study from the American Museum of Natural History suggests that the iguanas of Madagascar and Latin America diverged around 60 million years ago. This was during a time when Antarctica was much closer to South America and Africa, and Antarctica was also covered in subtropical forest, which would be suitable for reptiles. Madagascar, being the oldest island in the world, was already separated from Africa at this time, and molecular analysis from fossils and iguanas alive today suggests that these lizards reached Madagascar via long-distance overseas dispersal on rafts of vegetation, which was perhaps assisted by swimming. As iguanas likely originate from South America, this could have occurred directly from South America to Madagascar, or potentially via Antarctica and mainland Africa en route. This seems like a monumental distance, but the resilience of these reptiles and their ability to live for long periods without food or water means it's not impossible. Perhaps more pieces to this puzzle will turn up in future in the form of ancient iguana fossils in new locations, or perhaps this is all we'll ever know. This large male performs a quick burst of push-ups as a territorial display to rival males, or maybe even me. The Kirindy Dry Forest is one of the largest remaining areas of this habitat in western Madagascar, but the grim reality is that it declined by 43% between 1973 and 2023. If the current rate of loss continues, Kirindy could lose all of its forest cover within the next 50 years. Although the Kirindy Forest offers better protection for wildlife than nearby unprotected areas, its effectiveness is limited. For example, populations of Verreaux, Sifaka and other lemurs in this forest are so low they are at risk of local extinction, and some species may be extinct here already, such as Madame Berth's mouse lemur, which hasn't been seen in years. Researcher Dominic Romanello from the University of Texas stresses that meeting the needs of local people is essential in protecting this forest. He has extensively studied people's livelihoods around Kirindy and says the local people, who often live in poverty, can experience global conservation agendas as a loss, as protected areas cuts them off from the land's resources, leaving them without necessary support to thrive. He also says something has to be done to improve the lives of those living around the Kirindy Forest before we can expect it to protect wildlife and prevent habitat loss. In fact, the people living around Kirindy love the forest and want to preserve it, but as Romanello says, they are stuck in a system that does not give them the ability to preserve it for the future because of their immediate needs, which includes supporting their children. Furthermore, the tropical rainforests of eastern Madagascar tend to get more conservation attention due to hosting a higher known species diversity, but the dry forests in the west are equally important, and less is known about them. In the next episode, we change biomes to explore the tropical east in search of more extraordinary animals.